Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission says it will not register any new political parties because they will not be able to participate in the 2023 general election due to legal limitation. According to INEC, the new Electoral Act bars new political parties registered 12 months before any general election from participating in the electoral contest. The new electoral law also allows for the merger of political parties only 9 months to the general elections. There are currently 18 registered political parties in Nigeria.
Joining us now from Arise Abuja studio to look at the pros and cons of this situation is Andrew Thomas, a governorship aspirant on the platform of the Action Democratic Party in Cross River State, who will also assess his chances in the governorship race in the state. Thanks so much for joining us on Newsday. First, I would like to start by asking you, what do you make of INEC's decision not to register any new political party for participation in the 2023 general elections?
Point of correction, our political party is the African Democratic Congress, and it's on the platform that we're running for governor in Cross River on March 11th, 2023. INEC's decision not to register new political parties perhaps might be for logistics purposes. The more the merrier, I believe, but I'm confident that with 18 political parties, the space will be wide enough for different views to ventilate their opinions. In any case, we settled for the African Democratic Congress because we discovered that if we want to really effect change, work and impact that would affect the ordinary people of Cross River State, we have to look in a different direction. And that was why we settled to contest the governorship election in Cross River State on the platform of the African Democratic Congress.
So what challenges have you faced based on your aspirations to become governor of Cross River State? So what have you faced and what do you anticipate you're going to face in terms of challenges?
Well, the popular question I get all the time, why are you starting to run for governor? And I tell them that the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, specifically Section 177, lists a very short list of requirements. And those requirements, I meet them. I'm a Nigerian by birth. I'm over 35 years old. I am a member of a political party, and by God's grace, that political party will nominate me for the office of governor if I win the primaries. And I also have at least a school level certificate. And the challenges we have also faced is that people say, are you sure you don't have to try from somewhere lower? With due respect to all those opinions, which are valid, the current structure of the Nigerian Federation doesn't allow you to want to offer yourself for service to start from those platforms. You want to be councillor, you want to be chairman, you want to be a state house of assembly member. We all know whose apron strings you are tied. We believe strongly that if I want to make impact in public service, I can start as governor, not because I believe I'm just qualified on paper. I believe I have the capacity. Talking about myself personally, I have a strong family background in public service. My grandfather was a chaplain of the Nigerian Army. He was a staff of the Nigerian Railway Corporation. My father was also a staff of the Nigerian Railway Corporation in two capacities. He was a footballer and he worked in the printing press. He transferred his service to the Nigerian Customs Service. All my life I have attended public schools. My first paid employment was as a journalist, one of formal media conglomerates in Africa. In any case, my attempting to run for governor for the very first time, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm not the first in Nigeria to do it. I can mention contemporaries who are governors today and had never held any political position or any appointed or elected. For example, the outgoing governor of Anambra State, Mr. Obiano, had never run for any office before. He's governor today. The governor in Oyo State, Mr. Makinde, has never run for any office before. He's governor today. The governor in Ondo State, the senior advocate of Nigeria, Ms. Arakunrin Akeredolu, has never run for any office before. In Nasarawa State, Mr. Sule, who is the governor, has never run for any office before. For me, I believe it is less about your previous positions you've held, and more about your will and courage. I believe anybody who wants to run for public office has one major qualification to have in addition to what the law stipulates: courage. We have so many people who lack courage occupying positions today. Even to sign something as simple as a document, some of them don't have the courage. So we believe if I run for the office of governor, we'll be able to reposition Cross River to its pride of place. As I speak to you, one of the most indebted states in Nigeria, the top 5, you will count Cross River. The internally generated revenue does not correlate. And the DMO, the Debt Management Office, says if your income to debt ratio should be 50%, Cross River State's income to debt ratio is over 500%. That is not sustainable. We believe we are going to offer new direction, we are going to offer creative ideas, and we are going to know what we are going to do from day one. We have a blueprint called the Giant Agenda. In due course, we would unveil it. It shouldn't be a case where I become governor by God's grace, I will start crying that I didn't know. We know now, so that when we get in the office, we do what we have to do, so that the ordinary people in Cross River will feel the impact of government. It is indefensible that you have a state where you can't pay our mothers 7,500 naira to keep the streets of Calabar clean, but you have thousands of political appointees. For us, we believe we can do better. We believe we don't have to even need a godfather to tell us what to do. I'm a grown man. I'm a family man. I'm a man of my own. And I believe if I'm offered the opportunity to lead, I should be able to know what to do. I'm not tethered to anybody. I'm tethered to God Almighty. And let it be clear, people also say, you don't have money. I would say, I don't need to be a strong man to be a leader. I'm a man of courage. I'll cite an example. In Afghanistan, the Taliban were closing in. The president, who had a long profile, jumped into an aeroplane and disappeared. In Ukraine, the president is facing a lot of onslaught from Russia. And if you look at the track record of that president, that was the first time he ran for office, he became president. In case you don't know, his first job or his previous job he held before he became president, he was a comedian and an actor. With due respect to those in the creative industry, the man is a leader. He has courage. He's staying put to defend his people. We need those type of people in public office. With all sense of humility, I believe I have the quality to be governor of Cross River in 2023. The race to Peregrino House since 1999, the same set of men, with due respect to them, they recycle, they rotate. We need a new direction.
Please allow me to interrupt you at this point. You've said a lot of things. You believe that you have the courage, you have the capacity to lead Cross River State, but I'd like to know what you will do differently if given a chance to become governor of the state. For instance, you've talked about the debt ratio. How do you plan to bring that down? What would you do differently? What can the people of Cross River State expect from you? Can you give us just a little more specific details, you know, not just sweet promises of what you're going to do?
Yes, people are tired of sweet promises. In specifics, the income being generated in Cross River is not commensurate with the resources we have. I will use the massive deforestation going on in Ikom and Ububra local government areas. They are logging massively, and I don't think the state is getting value for money in terms of income receipts and tax receipts. We are not going to burden the ordinary people with taxes, but what we are going to do differently is that we block leakages. We don't need consultants to collect taxes. That's why we have civil servants who will expend money to train annually. We are going to deploy technology, automate the process. We are going to make sure that our civil servants give value for money. And as many that are not willing to give value, we'll look for young Cross Riverians who are willing to give value. What we'll do differently is when we become governor or when we get into Peregrino House on March 11, 2023, by God's grace, we are going to focus on governance. We understand that party faithfuls and party loyalists have to be rewarded, but not at the expense of the ordinary people of Cross River State. We are going to focus on governance. We are going to focus on infrastructure and industry. And personally, I've told my policy team, if we can't complete a project from design to award and execution in 36 months, count me out. We have a lot of white elephant projects, forgive me for using that tired cliche, in Cross River State. And we are still paying till today with no value for money. Is it not shocking to you that a project like Tinapa, you had a governor who was in the same party with the president, and they did not realize that you needed to back the claim of duty-free or export-free zone with law, and you spend all that money and suddenly realize that the Nigerian Customs Service had to take receipts that was due to them, and that was how that project fell apart. The state is still paying till now. We are going to focus on aquaculture in addition to agriculture. We are going to move away from the very, very subsistent nature of agriculture in Cross River State and make it mechanized. I'm a young person. I'm forward-looking. My administration will be open to new ideas. We have very rigid people in leadership in many parts of the country. With due respect to them, they are not open to new ideas. If you don't have new ideas, how do you move forward? Also, for us, we believe that Cross River deserves to regain its pride of place in tourism. If you go to the tourism website in Cross River State, and you can see a one-stop place where you want to visit Cross River, and you have just about 6 hotels listed there. There are many hotels in Cross River. Cross River is open to visitors, but if you don't make it easy for people to want to spend their money, why would they want to come? Insecurity is still an issue there. It is something that is going to be a priority for us. In a nutshell, we are going to focus on governance rather than playing politics. If I go into that, we may not finish today. And if I'm tempted to go into that, for example, we have an administration that appoints special assistant commissioners by the hour, as it were. What purpose does that serve? Like before they amended their electoral act, it says that statutory delegates are appointees of whoever is in office. Meaning, if I'm able to appoint 10,000 aides, there's no primary that will be level. There won't be a level playing field in any primary to produce any candidates. What is that purpose? How much do you need to fund that level of appointees? So if you ask me, we are going to do things differently and we are going to focus on governance. That is the difference.
Well, Andrew, you mentioned that you're quite youthful, I must say. But based on that, what role do you expect the youth to play in the success of the 2023 governorship elections, considering that you represent the youth, and also we know the members of the electorate who fall under the category don't think that their votes actually count. So what role do you expect them to play based on your aspirations?
Point of correction. I don't represent just the youth. I represent the long-suffering people of Cross River State. Men are suffering, women are suffering, children are suffering, all categories of workers are suffering. But particularly to your question about the youth must understand that you can't hands up. I've sat down on my hand for many years to complain about how things are not working. I put myself forward for service. It is risky, it is expensive. Many of my family members are saying, are you sure you want to do this? I said, I'm very sure I want to do this because I want to be in the right side of history, that I made an attempt to change the trajectory of Cross River State. The young people should massively get their PVCs. The young people should massively go out on election day to cast their vote for a candidate of their choice. You can't sit on the fence, whether we like it or not. A new set of leaders will be elected in 2023. So for those who prefer to sit on social media, divert that anger positively to contribute to the election process. That is the message I've been preaching at every forum I've had. And like I always say, they say your votes don't count. And I always tell them, if it doesn't count, why do they want to pay for it? I always tell people, if somebody offers you money, don't just collect it. Banter with them and tell them that, can you pay me for 4 years? For example, somebody shows up with 5,000 naira to vote. Calculate it over 48 months. If they can give you on the spot, you can might as well collect it and vote for the person they tell you to vote for. But if they cannot give you, it shows you that it's just a one-off contract. After you collect that money and cast that ballot, for the next 4 years, you won't see them again. So the choice is clear for young people in Cross River particularly to follow a new direction. These men have done their best. They need to take a deserved rest to show you how disturbing it is. I spoke to my uncle. I said, there is a particular man who represents my federal constituency. My uncle said since he has known him, since he graduated from the University of Calabar in 1981, he has been a professional politician. Professional politicians are useful. They serve their purpose. But at this point, we need people who have ideas, real-world experience, who know what the ordinary person goes through. Do you believe it that there are some people who don't understand that there are Nigerians, even in Cross River, that don't get 500 naira a day? They can't process it. I've been through that. and I know what it means. So we need people who look like us to be in office. We need people who understand our pain to be in office. We need people who don't just tell us to pray, but also help us actualize our prayers. And I believe I offer that direction. I offer that courage. I offer that new beginning for the state of Cross River. Cross River deserves the very best. And I think we shouldn't settle for less going into 2023. The ball is in the court of the youths and many who are young at heart to do the right thing and ignore the 500 or 1,000 naira. I'll leave it at that.
Now, Andrew, the two major political parties in Nigeria at the moment are the APC and the PDP, and a lot of people believe 2023 general elections would be about them. But you are planning to run under the platform of the ADC. So I'd like to know first, how viable is the ADC in Cross River State, and how confident are you that you will get your party's ticket?
Make no mistake, nothing good comes easy. I've offered myself to be governor in Cross River, not because I believe the road will be easy, not because, as some people have speculated, maybe I'm looking to be commissioner. With due respect to those who are commissioners, I think personally I can be much more useful than being a commissioner. The ADC offers a new direction. It is one of the very few political parties in Nigeria where you walk up to their door and they open their door. We consider so many political parties to run on. We were even calling and texting, they were not responding, just text. So we are going with a party that loves the youth. We are going with a party that loves new ideas. We are going with a party that is ready to welcome candidates that will contribute in building the party. You understand that in Nigeria, many politicians jump into all these parties because they see them as special purpose vehicles. But at least any man or woman who has honor, a modicum of honor, should align with a political party that states its manifesto and sticks by it. The ADC is not a pushover. If you look through, they have members in the House of Representatives, they've elected senators, they have councillors in some states of the country. So it is a party that has been electing candidates. And for me, in 2023, it shouldn't be about the party platform. I see young people like me who want to run in Cross River for governor. But when you look at their affiliation, you know they are spoon-feeding them and baby-feeding them. At my age, nobody should spoon-feed me. If I want to run under those parties, I should be able to go and be my own man and not to be tethered to anybody. When my mother weaned me, she set me free. And I think I should be bold enough to say, this is what I want to do, and this is where I stand. And that's where it brings it to the issue of godfatherism. That marriage is not built to last. Because sooner rather than later, the marriage will break down. And that's why for us, we believe that there's no point going to those parties where we'll be tethered to men who will tell us how to do things the same old way that the people have been suffering. We are going to the ADC. It offers hope. It is vibrant. It is peopled by young people. It is peopled by people who are willing to do things differently. And that's why we know that it is not easy. Cross River State is very massive. Almost 200 political wards across 18 local government areas. But we are equal to the task. We are working night and day. And as I speak to you, I've been having insufficient sleep, not because I'm worried about what anybody may do or not do to me, but how we are going to keep convincing people to buy into this gospel, to give Cross River a new lease of life. And we'll continue to do that until 24 hours to the election as stipulated by the Electoral Act for us to stop campaigning.
ADC governorship aspirants in Cross River State. Andrew Thomas, thank you so much for joining us on Newsday.